National debt is the total amount of money a country owes to lenders. This debt accumulates over time as the government borrows more and more to cover its expenses. Think of it like your credit card balance, but for an entire nation. Just as individuals use credit cards to manage their finances, countries use debt to manage their budgets. Countries borrow money to fund projects, services, and sometimes even emergencies. This can include building infrastructure, providing social services, or responding to natural disasters. Just like you might take out a loan, governments issue bonds. These bonds are essentially IOUs that promise to pay back the borrowed amount with interest. These bonds are bought by individuals, businesses, and other countries, effectively lending money to the government. This process helps the government raise the funds it needs. Of course, just like your loan, these bonds come with interest payments. The government must pay interest to the bondholders, which adds to the total cost of borrowing. That means the country has to pay back what they borrowed, plus extra. This can put a strain on the national budget if not managed carefully. The United States, for example, has a large national debt. This debt has been growing for decades and is a topic of much debate among economists and policymakers. This debt is a complex issue with both positive and negative implications for the country's economy. While it can help stimulate growth, it also poses risks if it becomes too large. Inflation is when prices for goods and services go up over time. It's a gradual process that can have a significant impact on your purchasing power. Remember when a candy bar cost $1? Now it's almost $2. This is a simple example of how inflation works. That's inflation. Your money buys less. Over time, the same amount of money will get you fewer goods and services. Why does this happen? Several reasons. It's not just one factor, but a combination of many. Increased demand for goods and services when more people want to buy the same thing, a rise in production costs, which means it costs more to make the same product. Even government policies can all contribute to inflation. These policies can affect the economy in various ways. Let's say you're in the fictional land of Candyland. Imagine a world where everything is made of candy. If everyone suddenly craves candy and demand outstrips supply, candy makers can charge more. That's inflation in action. The higher the demand, the higher the prices. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of money. Over time, your money won't go as far as it used to. What you could buy for $100 last year might cost you $105 this year. This gradual increase can add up over time. This is why managing inflation is crucial for maintaining a healthy economy. Keeping inflation in check helps ensure that your money retains its value. Now, how does inflation affect national debt? Think of it this way. You borrowed money when that money was worth more. If Candyland borrows $1 billion, but inflation makes candy more expensive, that $1 billion buys less candy later on. The real value of the debt has decreased. This benefits Candyland because they can repay the debt with cheaper money. While they still owe the same amount in numerical terms, the purchasing power of that money has decreased because of inflation. However, it's not all sunshine and lollipops. Inflation can also lead to higher interest rates, making future borrowing more expensive for Candyland. While some inflation can help manage national debt by reducing the real value of debt over time, too much inflation is like eating too much candy. It leads to serious problems. High inflation hurts lenders, as their returns are diminished. This means that the money they get back has less purchasing power. Imagine lending $100 and getting back $105, only to find a candy bar now costs $1.10. Your profit is eroded by inflation. Furthermore, if Candyland owes money to other countries in their currency, inflation in Candyland doesn't help. They still need to repay the same amount of the foreign currency, which may now be more expensive to acquire. This can lead to a higher debt burden. Managing inflation is a delicate balancing act. Too much inflation can destabilize an economy, while too little can lead to stagnation. Governments and central banks try to keep it at a moderate level, aiming for price stability while fostering economic growth. They use tools like interest rates and monetary policy to achieve this balance. Remember, too much or too little of anything can be bad. Understanding these concepts helps you make sense of the financial world around you. Stay informed and stay savvy. By keeping an eye on inflation trends, you can make better financial decisions and protect your wealth.